So this video is going to go over the posts and potentially pages as well, depending on how much time we have. As I explained in class, in general, posts are blog posts. So we've got drafts, we've got our trash. So I've already deleted the first post. The way I did that is we just go over here, you can click the little three dots. We could trash it, I can look in the trash, see what's there. I'm going to delete these two permanently. And we can schedule posts to go out at a specific time. But for now, we're going to focus on, I'm just going to add a new post. Now, it doesn't matter where I add it. It just says no post found, and I can add a post. And then while I'm editing it, that's where we decide if I want to publish it or if I want to schedule it for later. Right? If I publish, I can do over here and publish. I can do publish immediately, or I can say no. I want it to come out, January 5th, 2024. So we can make it come out next year, or in a few weeks, both of which are true. Anyway, we are gonna just set it to publish now, and we're gonna create our first post. So I need a blog. That is where this is gonna start. Give me a second. Alright, excuse me about this. So, why I made a blog. This is one sentence. We should have one block. This is a new block. So I mentioned blocks a little bit on the last video, and what blocks are sections of text that will hold the same principles. They don't have to be text, they can be something else, but in general they're going to all have the same styles. So we can do like click to tweet, or we can add a bunch of other sorts of things. And as I scroll down over here, you see how there's standard styles for these. And if you look at the preview window, it shows you kind of what it'll look like, right? So like this theme that I'm using already has a nice style it does for quotes, or for pre-formatted stuff is what they call it, if it looks kind of like it's code, or groups, or whatever else, or if I want to make it into a button even. Or would they have this verse thing, which I guess is if it's in poetry, so it'll be a little bit of an index style. But for now I'm going to leave this new block as that, and we're going to style this one differently. So I'm going to change this one to white text on this dark blue background. Now it looks terrible. I'm not doing this because it looks nice. I'm doing this literally just to explain how this stuff works. Aside from that, we're going to go through this. So there's the post and there's the block specifically. When you click on a block, that block is selected. The stuff will show up. Now if I go down over here, this is a different size. Why? Because this is a different color scheme, because I'm looking at a different block. I'm going to go back to my first block, and it doesn't matter what block I'm on. The moment I go to post, it's going to be the same for all of them because they're all in the same post. So we can stick this to the top of blog. We're going to ignore that. This is the base URL of this, what this post is going to be. If I just click on that, it shows me it's going to be p=47, which is just page 47. We don't have to worry about that. That's the blog is going to have, every blog post is going to have an ID, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. We can write an excerpt. So this is when our blog is in preview, we can set like, hey, this is why you should click on this blog to keep reading, right? So we can do something like the start of my journey, and we'll see where this text goes in, or what this excerpt is used for soon. Access, we're going to say everyone gets access to it. We can do categories. We can add our own categories. So we'll leave this as sample category. And we'll add some tags. We'll add example, and I'll add bad design. And we'll leave it at just those two tags for now. Notice how tags can be multiple words, but you have to put a dash in between them, because if I write hello world, that works too. Sorry, programmer, bad habits, always check what you're doing. In general, when you want a bunch of words to be read as a single thing in programming, you have to do it as one long thing. We'll leave it as two separate words for now. We'll do bad design as two separate words, and when I push enter, that's when it reads it as a tag. So featured image. So featured image is usually just a way to, I'm blocking this with featured image. This is just as part of the post, and as part of a lot of themes, we always want to put an image here. So this is where we go back to the conversation about using royalty-free images. This is one place where you would use them. Discussion, we're going to allow comments, we're going to allow pingbacks and trackbacks. I'm going to disable all of that for now because I just want to be able to post my stuff. I don't want to have to deal with other people reacting to it on my blog. I don't want to have to manage this. So I'm going to push publish. Are you ready to publish? Double check the settings before you publish. So it's like, hey, it's warning me it's about to publish. Then I'm going to click publish. It's going to say publishing. And post publish. It was delivered to each of my subscribers. I can click view post. And this is what my post looks like. It was published by me, Mr. Muttle, the only user. These are the tags, and if I click on the tags, it'll actually show us it will potentially show us other tags with the same, other posts with the same tag. Right now we only have the one. The blog, notice here, it's like why I made a blog, the start of my journey. Those words don't appear here. The reason why they show up is because they're in this is where the excerpt comes in. When it's previewing the thing, it'll show the excerpt. When I click on the post itself, now is where it shows me the post. Now keep in mind, the user and when it was published and all that stuff, I was able to set it, but I don't have access to it, but I don't edit it and I don't set it up to exist on this page. The reason for that is that it automatically exists on the page as part of my template. So this is where the difference between what we create in the template matters. This video is going to go a little longer. I want to do like one or two more posts, and then I want to add a page as well. So I'm going to add a second post here. And we'll just call this post 2 by post 2. I give up. I have decided to stop blogging. It is too difficult to manage. It is too difficult to manage. This is a whole paragraph about my life and why I need to stop. This is another paragraph about how awesome this journey was. So I've written sentences that I'm treating as separate blocks. They're as separate paragraphs. They're in separate blocks. Just for fun, I'll leave this one as a quote. We can even add a citation here for my quote. I can do style right. Give the correct. That's for the advanced. So we can do the block name. We can do some other stuff. We can add additional CSS stuff. We can make it regular. Or we can make it the default. And then I can add the citation. Me. 2023. All right. And all of these different styles are just built into the template, so I don't even have to worry about them. In the meantime, though, we're gonna, and you notice that it lets us do some things like add blocks in the middle here. That's the basic, that's like a very basic example of a couple of things. I'm just gonna publish this as well. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna go back to my home page. If I go to my home, if I go to my posts, I can view all posts, and I see the two posts that are here now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this. and I'm going to turn this into a draft. So switch to draft. I'm going to unpublish my post. Now, so if you visit this site, so first of all, as you see, I have one published, I have one in drafts. But now if you visit the site, you're only going to be able to see this post. So if we go to, where is it? View. I'll leave that as is. Visit site. There we go. I'm going to leave this open. So if you visit site, you see there's only one post. The moment that I go over here and I take this post, and instead of making a draft, I publish it. So now it's been published, and I refresh this page. I've got both of my posts up here. So I've got my blog, and my blog has 2 posts. And because I didn't set an excerpt, it just dumps everything that I've written in, and it doesn't indent it, it doesn't style it, because it doesn't pay attention to styles on this page, so it actually looks pretty terrible, which is a good reason to include a little excerpt on every post. For now, though, we're going to go on to pages. So if I go back to, whoops, actually I'm going to leave this as preview of the blog so we can always play with that as is. So right now I've got my blog page, which is also my home page, and if we take a look at this, this is all of my posts in one page, right? So if I click on block and I select this block, this is the block posts, a block displaying homepage posts. So what this does is it actually displays a bunch of posts, and we can be more specific. I can like choose specific posts, and I can say only posts. So we're going to use duplication logic so it avoids double posts, and we can type we can only do posts with specific titles, or like we can choose the posts we want, or we can even say, hey, we want to include only specific authors or only specific categories. We can limit or extend the number of items, and this is all just editing this one block, which is my posts block. And this is what my homepage is. So if I go back, I'm not going to save any changes I made. Now I've got my about page. So my about page is a separate page, and I can edit this a little bit, right? This is a simple website I made to teach my students about WordPress. My goal is to have just enough content so that we can mess around with content. And I'm going to update the page. And now if we go back to my about over here, I've added a new line. So this is just, it's the same thing over and over. As far as that's concerned, pages and posts are not different. The only real difference is where they show up. So if I go to view my pages, right, I get this. Now if I go to my appearance, this is where we can customize, and this is where things begin to get interesting, right? So if I customize and I do content options, right, we can do, for post details, we can choose what gets displayed, for example. We can do like the logo and the tagline. We want to display title and tagline, or we don't. I think we should over here. This is my menu, and I can add items to my menu, right? I can add, once I have pages, or I can go with the sample category, and we can call it, right, this will be my sample posts, and I'm going to add that item. Oh, right, and so now I have a third item, header, right? You don't want the social menu. Automatically add new top level pages. So this is whenever I create a new page, do I want to automatically add it to the menu or not? My answer is no for the time being. I'm going to save my changes. Now I'm going to refresh the page just to explain to you what I did. So if we go back to sample posts, so if I, sorry, not back to, but if I go to the sample posts page, you can see here that it's all the posts with the category sample, and if I go to the home page, it's all of my posts. Now I don't like this order, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get the order right. We want this to be first, We want that to be last. Reorder. This should be, sample post should be at the bottom. Nope, that would be one level deep. We're actually going to put the, what we're going to do is we're going to say up and then in. So now my sample post is going to be a child of my home. So now if I save my changes and I refresh this again, see I've got home and one option is sample posts. So I can do home, which is all my posts, and then sample posts, and I've just created a drop-down menu. And you can experiment with this and have a lot of fun. But going into more detail, we can do colors and background, right? We can change the color, and this is all in the customization section. Now, the important thing to realize here is because of how WordPress is structured, because the content and the style are separate, I'm able to do this. I'm able to take my content and I'm able to just change the style of the theme, and it automatically updates all of the content and all of my pages to match. And I don't have to go just messing around with a bunch of HTML. And in general, this is how a blog tool or a tool like this will work. We can look at menus, and we can change, right? I can do all my pages. I can add widgets. So widgets are third-party tools. So we can look at my footer or my header or my sidebar, and I can add blocks to it, except that these won't just be the standard blocks. I can add things like I can add YouTube videos or Wordpress, or I can add a bunch of other, right? I can add some Facebook plugin page or Flickr, and WordPress is one of those tools that's been around for forever, so they have a ton of tools in here that you can use, right? I can use Vimeo, I can use Twitter integration, YouTube integration, I can embed like specific videos if I want to. We could do all sorts of stuff. We're actually not going to do it here, but what we're going to do is we're going to show that we can also do that on pages, and pages and posts. So I'm going to go to my post, I'm going to add a new post, and this is going to be a lecture, and I'm just going to pull this video up on another window over here. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to quickly open YouTube, and I'm going to go to the previous video I uploaded for this class. And what we're going to do is we're going to upload that video to, I'm going to quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that video and I'm going to embed it in, over here. So if I add that block and I browse all and we look up YouTube, so I'm going to embed a YouTube video, and I just add the URL to my video and I click embed. So I've actually disabled the ability, so I, as the person who controls this video, have disabled the ability for this video to be edited to be embedded into other sites, which is something you can do as a YouTube creator if you want to. So I'm going to have to undo that, which will take me a second and is not really relevant to this case, not really relevant to the class right now, so I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to keep talking about this while I do that. The important thing is just to know in general, is to understand in general what's going on with this. And here we go. Sorry, just 1 second, I'll get this done. But I think that the basic idea is, here we go. Hopefully the basic idea is clear, that the goal of this is to get you a little bit deeper into WordPress, enough that you can watch this video and play around and feel it for yourself. So if I refresh this, stay on page, I'm going to we'll add a caption, or I'm just going to click publish, and you'll see that now that I've published it, if we visit page, since I fixed it, the video is actually available here now. we've got this nice little video
There's
playing, and I'm not going to leave it playing so you don't have to listen to me twice. But that is a post. Now if we go back to home, you'll see that the video embed doesn't show up here, it's just a lecture. But if we click on that, it shows up over here. So what the previews are doing is they're only showing us the text, or either the text like summarized or a specific summary if we write it, but it's only text. This is not going to preview, this may preview images or it may preview video depending on the theme and depending on the template that you have for this page, but the way that the one that I'm using works, it just shows this. Alright. That is an overview, and that is enough that you need to get going. The final project, which I'm going to be publishing hopefully tonight, if not in the next day or so, is going to be about is going to just tell you what the final project is, which is just to build a WordPress site with a few posts and a few pages. The exact numbers will be there, and all you're going to have to do is just upload the URL to the website, and I'll just look at that and grade that. So hopefully this was helpful, and if you have any other questions, I'm always available via mail, and I will try to give my final lecture in class.